Welcome to all. I am Mrs.S.Kanagambigai, lecturer, Department of Computer Science. Now I am going to take exception handling in Java. Okay, what is exception handling? An exception is a problem that arises during the execution of a program. Exception can occur for many different reasons, including the following. First one is a user has entered invalid data. Second thing is a file that needs to be opened cannot be found. Third one is a network connection has been lost in the middle of a communications. Okay, next is runtime exceptions. What is runtime exceptions? A runtime exception is an exception that occurs that probably could have been avoided by the programmer. Runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilation. Next is, we should know about what is an errors. Errors are typically ignored in your code because you can't really do anything about an error. For example, if a stack overflow occurs, an error will arise. They are also ignored at the time of compilation. Exception handling terms. There are so many number of exception handling terms that are available in your Java. First one is try. Second thing is throw. Third term is catch. Fourth term is finally. What about try term? It is always used to enclose a segment of code that may produce an exception. Next term, throw. This statement is always used to generate an exception or to describe an instance of an exception. Third term, catch statement. Catch placed directly after the try block to handle one or more exception types. Finally, final statement. Finally statement, this statement is always optional one and it is used after a try catch block to run a segment of code regardless if an exception is generated. Next is exception hierarchy. So here this picture is always shows an exception hierarchy. Throwable statement. First thing is throwable statement. It has two types. One is error. Second one is exception. This exception is also divided into two types. One is input-output exception, that is IOException, and next is runtime exception. Next, we want to know about what is checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. First one, checked exceptions. It's a part of the method signature. It always compile type checking and it requires programmer to handle the exception and declare the method as throws exception. It is always unique to Java. Say for an example for your checked exception is here, file not found exception. What does unchecked exception means? Here, no need to declare the exception in method's signature. Second one is here, no compile time checking. As usual, it indicates programming error. And one more example for unchecked exception is null pointer exception. Catching exception. This is the important exception in your Java. Catching exceptions. Here, a method catches an exception using a combination of the try and also catch keywords. A try catch block is placed around the code that might generate an exception. Code within a try catch block is referred to as protected code. And the syntax for using try catch looks like the following. Try and followed by open curly bracket, and it has some set of protected codes, and close your curly bracket, and next start your catch statement with the help of catch keyword, catch within the bracket using exception name E1, and open your bracket, curly bracket. Here it has some set of statements, block of the statements related to your catch. Catching exception continuation is next is a catch statement involves declaring the type of exception you are trying to catch. If an exception occurs in protected code, the catch block are blocks that follows the try is checked. If the type of exception that occurred is listed in a catch block, the exception is passed to the catch block much as an argument is passed into a method parameter. Example for catch statement is here public class followed by class name, and my class name is here Java exception example. And next statement is public static void main of string arguments. Next we will start your try block with the help of try keyword, try, open curly bracket, and it has some code that may raise exception. Your declaration for our data variable int data equal to 100 divided by 0. Close your try block. Next start your catch block, catch of arithmetic exception. E is nothing but exception name, and here open your curly bracket, and just to print arithmetic exception name, that is E, And next is to print rest of the code. Next is we want to use multiple catch exceptions. What is the general form of your multiple catch exception is following? Try, open curly bracket, and code which might throw an exception. Catch statement also occurred in this kind of try statement. Catch of exception class object 1, and it has some set of code to handle an exception. Next, you want to create another catch block, catch of exception class object 2, and here it has set of codes, source codes. Example for try and also multiple catch statement is try to print try block begin. Next statement is declaring an array. Int my array of equal to new int of 5. Next calculation part, that is my array of 5 equal to 10 divided by 0. Close your try statement. Next you will start your multiple catch blocks. Catch of arithmetic exception E, and to print arithmetic exception, that is divide by 0. Next catch is catch of array index out of bounds exception, and its corresponding exception name is E. And we want to print array index out of bounds, accessed index out of bounds. Finally, we will be discussing about finally statement. The finally block in Java is usually put after a try or catch block. Big data works on 3 fundamental activities. Finally, block cannot exist without a try block. When the finally block is included with try catch, it becomes a try catch finally block. Finally block is optional. The general form of finally statement is try, as usual it has set of codes, and catch statement and its corresponding block of the statements for your catch statement. Finally open your curly bracket and mandatory code to be executed. That is a new word, finally statement. Example is try to print try block. Next is declaring your variable, that is data, and it has one more calculation, that is 125 divided by 5, and to print that particular output variable, that is data, result, and also variable output variable data. Next catch block, catch null pointer exception, and your exception name is E, to print catch block, and again to print your exception name, that is null pointer exception. Examples for finally statement continued, finally block, finally system.out.println, here to print the finally block, and next is no exception, finally block executed. Next is throw statement. We can explicitly throw the exceptions in the code. If we are checking arithmetic operations and want to raise some exceptions, after checking operands, we can do so using the throw keyword. Using the throw keyword, we can throw the checked or unchecked exceptions. The throw keyword is also used to throw custom exceptions. What's the general form of your throw statement? Means here throw exception. Throw is a keyword and exception, if you have any exception, means just give a exception name. Or throw new exception class of error message. Example for throw statement is if here before that void test method int num throws input IOException comma arithmetic exception. So what is the actual meaning of throws IOException? Arithmetic exception means here in that block, that is test method definition block, it has any input and output exception and also arithmetic oriented errors, means just throws the error and execute the following statements. If num equal to 1 means one value, means here throw new input output oriented exception. Else means throw new arithmetic exception. Thank you very much.